The person I am doing a response to is an infantile liberal by the name of Otterface. She is of course friends with the atheist Zionist neocon group on YouTube and Twitter, which includes those such as Nightmare Fuel, Billy Bong, and Claire Voltaire. Her politics, just like the rest of her ilk, are vapid and consist of nothing but new atheist hackery and dumb liberal talking points. They can pretty much just be summed up as wanting gay Jews to smoke weed and get married in transgender bathrooms in Tel Aviv. This is a first in many videos attacking this group, who I believe deserve more attention.
What you've done and the ambitions, you do seriously surprise me.
Thank you, Chef. I was hoping you'd see that. I mean, I'd give it all I got.
You surprise me to how shit you are.
Oh, thank you.
I read a fascinating interview with you, and you were talking about the plight of young men and how guys really need to get their act together. You went on to say the lack of an identifiable and compelling path forward and the denialism these kids are being fed on a daily basis and undoubtedly destroying them, and that is especially true of the young men. This show we've covered widely the fact that suicide is the biggest killer of young men under the age of 45 in this country. It goes on in that interview to say, at this point, to my astonishment, Peterson begins to weep.
Yeah, well, it says, see, now it did it to me again. Look, last night, I was at this talk I gave, and about 1,000 people came, and about 500 of them stayed afterwards, and most of them were young men, and just one of them after the other comes up to me, and they shake my hand, and they say, look, I've been listening to what you've been saying for 6 months, and it's changed my life. It's like I was depressed, I was addicted to drugs, my relationships weren't working out, I was hopeless, I didn't have any goal. I started cleaning up my room and telling the truth and working hard on myself, and it's really working, and I just want to thank you for helping me. And I think, God, it's so sad that so many of these men, they've not had an encouraging bloody word, a real encouraging word in their entire life. It just takes a little bit of encouragement and care so that they're willing to set themselves straight to some degree and start trying. It's just a catastrophe that's so rare in their lives.
This clip was taken from some BBC radio show where we see Jordan Peterson once again crying. I say once again because, as you could see in the background, he's crying in this YouTube video he made on his own channel about a year ago or whatever it was. We know Jordan's a very emotional person. Now, I'm not bringing this up to put down the guy. I don't want to sit here and abuse him for crying in public, although it is quite funny. I don't want to take away from Jordan that he may have helped some young men figure out their life. I don't want to take that away from him, although, telling people to clean their room and these people having a realization about cleaning their room and figuring out their life because of it is fucking insane to me. This is something your mother and father should have taught you as a child, to clean your fucking room. But that does sort of bring us to the whole point about this generation who have been coddled throughout their lives by, first off, their parents, secondly, schooling, sports, anything of the sort, junior activities, all that stuff. This is the everyone gets a trophy generation. You know what I'm talking about. So like I said, I'm not here to take that away from Jordan, but I bring up the fact that he's an emotional person because I think it affects all of his viewpoints in life. This is my opinion. I'm starting to notice it. In almost every clip you see of Jordan, he's always overly emotional. No matter if it's crying or getting defensive, as he's gonna do in the clip I'm gonna bring up in a little bit. Sort of steps on the interviewer's toes, cuts him off a bunch of times before he can even say anything back to him. But I just think this is a man driven by emotion, and I think that's what leads to his worldview. This is the same guy that thinks truth is what makes you feel good. Not that truth is actually just endorse what's true. And that, I think, definitely drives his religiosity. I mean, the man claims even if there isn't a Jesus, we should still buy into the stories and pass them on because they do such good for the world, you know? They make people do good things, and we need society to function that way. This is the type of person he is. He's built on emotion. And that's why he doesn't like atheism. And that's because he thinks it'll lead to nihilism, you know? If you don't believe in a God, what is there to live for if this life is all that matters and there's nothing after it? Why should you care? All that bullshit where, you know, atheism leads to nihilism, blah, blah, fucking blah. Like I've said to people before, I've never met a nihilist in my fucking life. Every atheist I know is not a nihilist. It's just a jump these people take to make their argument. So the idea that atheism leads to nihilism is what I think drives him to actually be a religious person in the first place. That's playing off a retarded fear in his head because talk to atheists on the street you meet. Anywhere you meet an atheist, are they these nihilistic people that feel like there's nothing to live for, or are they living their lives just like everyone else in the world? Of course they are, because people can live without religion. Now, religion is not the topic of this video. I'm sorry to go off on a tangent. I'm just trying to point out that even that belief of Jordan's is based on his emotion, his fear. Recently, he did a interview with Vice, and that's what this video is actually going to be about. And I feel he gives really bad arguments for what he's trying to stand up for, and I think it's based on emotions. Fear of what could happen if a majority of the people became this way. When, in fact, I don't think the majority of the people are this certain way. Just like the atheist nihilist notion. I think the internet has a way of doing that to people. I think the internet has a way of making people think something is way bigger than it is and is gonna destroy our society. You know, you hear it all the time. Western society is falling. Insanity. Western society is not falling at the moment. Can things become bad in the future if, you know, the majority of the people think this way? Sure. But that's why we're talking about these issues now. Trying to make people understand that some of these ideas are completely insane. We don't want people, though, to get over-emotional and conspiratorial about shit. That's what I'm noticing a lot coming out of the anti-social justice, whatever you want to call it. A lot of it's right-wing now. A lot of conspiracy shit going on that side. And if there's one thing I can't stand, it's fucking conspiracy theories. Now, before we go into the video, real quick about something he just said in that clip about people taking responsibility and cleaning their room and shit like that. This is something you should have been taught as a child. So, to blame it all on social justice and indoctrination in universities is horseshit to me. Yes, universities are pushing this social justice narrative onto students, but this is not what made these people become like this. I blame their fucking parents for raising them without any discipline, without any consequences to their actions. And that's why I think you have these people that are perpetual victims. That being said, let's get into the video.
After his sold-out show in New York, I met Dr. Peterson at his home in Toronto. We started off discussing his work, but the conversation quickly veered into something else. Who is the target audience? Who are you trying to reach?
Well, partly me, and then partly people who feel that there might be more in them than they're currently manifesting. People who've been fed a nauseating saccharine diet of rights and freedoms for like 50 years with no counterbalance of responsibility. And most people find almost all the genuine meaning in their life in the adoption of responsibility.
It seems to me that there's sort of two versions of you that are floating around. Mm-hmm. The one is the scholarly work that you've done over your career.
Yeah.
And then there's this online version. I mean, do you feel split at all right now?
Fragmented is more accurate than just split. The political split that you're talking about is the humanities at the universities have become intolerably corrupt. They don't teach people to read. They don't teach them to think. They don't teach them to speak. They don't have them read great works. They've become indoctrination factories for a social justice ideology.
I have a personal theory that I wanted to run by you, and it is that college right now and universities are their own ecosystem, and that professors and students both have been sort of trapped in a war of ideas, as you put it, that keeps escalating. But that once you walk outside the gates of that university that it seems very contained to the university. What I don't see is sort of this sort of veering towards apocalypse.
Oh yeah, it's spreading into HR, into corporations throughout the U.S. through HR departments. Very, very rapidly.
Yeah, all right. So I kind of agree with both here. I agree that it's mostly contained in the universities. I believe it is spreading out into HR or wherever else, media. But the guy made the point, we're not coming to an apocalypse from this. It's not happening yet. This is the beginnings of all this shit. We have to put our foot down, and we've been trying to for, 2-3 years now. Problem is, assholes have decided to go to the fringes instead of, staying focused and presenting their goddamn arguments and staying where they are politically. No, they've all decided to switch sides or go to the opposite fucking ends of the spectrum and be on the far left or the far right, and it's retarded. Just like that guy said, but I don't see it happening out there. That's a ridiculous thing to say. Obviously, you see it going on in the real world besides universities. But Jordan too. Oh, yeah, it's happening real quick. It's going down. No, there's a fight against it. There's a push against this. People are putting their foot down. Speaking of feet, why are they wearing socks? This just goes to prove the warpedness that I'm talking about in Jordan's head. Making a guy who's coming over to interview you from a semi-known media outlet take off his shoes when he comes in your house. This is insane to me. How awkward does this look? They're both sitting there interviewing each other. Jordan's got on a fucking blazer and, no shoes because, we're in my house. I don't want to get the floor dirty. This is ridiculous. This screams obsessive compulsive behavior to me. People thinking that much and that intensely are way more likely to go conspiratorial. Way more likely to be thinking things are way more out of hand than they really are.
In what ways, though? In a way that is not sort of like, hey, how about you not grab the ass of your coworker?
NBC is regulating hugging, right? And not only that,
do you not feel like that was out of a response of these sorts of stories, of generations of men sort of taking advantage?
It's not easy to solve a complicated problem, and ready-made ideological solutions don't work. They just make it worse.
But come on, that's just like a maxim. You're not actually addressing the question, which is isn't there harm that is trying to be solved?
There isn't a question. There's a set of questions, and no one's posing them. Here's a question: can men and women work together in the workplace?
There's the question of the century. Can men and women work together in the workplace? Yeah, I think they've been doing it for years now. I think that's a pretty damn easy question to answer. But for some reason, Jordan struggles with that one. Can we really work together? Let's see what he has to say about it.
Yes, I do it.
How do you know?
Because I work with a lot of women.
Right. Well, it's been happening for 40 years? And things are deteriorating very rapidly at the moment in terms of the relationships between men and women. Is there sexual harassment in the workplace? Yes. Should it stop? That'd be good. Will it? Well, not at the moment it won't, because we don't know what the rules are.
All right, so the guy answers the question pretty damn easily. Yes, because I work with a bunch of women. So yeah, it's possible for men and women to work together. Jordan jumps to, but how long have we been doing this? 40 years? We've been working with women a lot longer than 40 years. I'm pretty sure women that worked in, the 20s, 30s, 40s weren't segregated from the men. I'm pretty damn sure of that. Yeah, maybe some jobs here and there. But I'm pretty sure men and women have been working together for a boatload of time now. Now, I don't know if Jordan meant relationships between men and women in general are deteriorating, or just in the workplace. I don't buy that. I would have to assume after all these years of working together, things are getting better for both people. For both men and women, things have to be getting better. Are crazy rules being implemented here and there? Sure. Is it happening on a grand scale everywhere? No, I don't believe this is true. If he wants to claim that's the truth, then he better provide some evidence. As for will sexual harassment stop in the workplace? No, probably never. Just like murder will probably never stop. Just like rape will probably never stop. Just like war will probably never stop. People are always going to do bad things. We're just trying to live in a world where we make things better for everyone and less people murder. Because there's always going to be someone who murders. There's always going to be someone who does any of these bad things that I just mentioned. But to sit there and blame it on because we don't know the rules? Really? Really, is that where you went? We don't know the rules. How about this for a rule? Rule number 1, no fucking your coworkers. I'm pretty sure that's the rule. Rule number 2, no flirting with your coworkers. I'm pretty sure those are the rules. Pretty sure if you just follow those 2 steps, you'll have no problems at work. Can some crazy woman come out of nowhere and blame you for shit you never did? Sure. Is it happening every day? No. Is it happening because we don't know the rules? No, we all know not to fuck our coworkers. I'm sorry if some of you can't control your urges. That's just too bad. Then you suffer the consequences of what happens after that. If you can't control your sexual urges with coworkers, then face the consequences. Someone was arguing with me on Twitter about this and literally said, you're asking the impossible. To not sleep with your coworker is impossible? Really? To refrain from your sexual urges is an impossibility? Really? Is that really impossible to ask of people? What do you want? You want segregation in the workplace? Really? That's just a fucking regression. And I don't understand these people that think like this.
Do you think men and women can work in the workplace together?
I don't know.
Without sexual harassment?
We'll see.
We'll see. How many years will it take for men and women working in the workplace together?
More than 40.
To get a sense.
We don't know what the rules are. Like what? Here's a rule.
Don't
How about no makeup in the workplace?
Why would that be a rule?
Why should you wear makeup in the workplace? Isn't that sexually provocative?
No.
It's not?
No.
Well, what is it then? What's the purpose of makeup?
Some people would like to just put on makeup.
Why?
I don't know why.
Why do you make your lips red? Because they turn red during sexual arousal. That's why. Why do you put rouge on your cheeks? Same reason.
I mean, look.
How about high heels?
What are they for? What about high heels?
What about them? They're there to exaggerate sexual attractiveness. That's what high heels do. Now, I'm not saying that people shouldn't use sexual displays in the workplace. I'm not saying that. But I am saying that that is what they're doing. And that is what they're doing.
Do you see what I'm talking about? Do you see what he did here? Can we work together? How long's it gonna take? More than 40 years. Jumping out, cutting the guy off. He's so extra emotional and defensive here. This is what I'm talking about with his emotions. He's very defensive here. And now, why do women wear lipstick in the workplace? Why do women wear makeup in the workplace? Let's see. Maybe to look presentable. So when you meet a client, you don't look disgusting and dirty or whatever. Tell me something, Jordan. Why do men wear suits to the workplace? I mean, wearing suits makes women sexually aroused. So why are men wearing suits to the workplace? Like, do we think makeup is only for sexual arousal? Maybe they have blemishes and they want them to not appear on their face when meeting a new client. This is insane. It's obvious that bosses want their employees to look as presentable as possible, depending on what field of work you're in. And just to say that women wearing red lipstick and high heels to work is to turn on people, it's insane. That is ridiculous. This is like MGTOW shit here. This is the conspiratorial shit I'm talking about. Yeah, every woman's out to just play every fucking man on earth. It's insane. It's fear-mongering nonsense. This guy is scared to death. Like, I don't know how he has a wife, but if he didn't have a wife, I tell you right now, he wouldn't be able to get a chick for his life right now.
Do you feel like a serious woman who does not want sexual harassment in the workplace, do you feel like if she wears makeup in the workplace that she is somewhat being critical?
Yeah.
Okay.
I do think that.
So Jordan thinks that if a woman wears lipstick to the workplace, she is being hypocritical if she doesn't want to be sexually harassed. Really? 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 Is that where we're going? That's basically almost victim blaming. You know, you wore lipstick, so you deserved it. I mean, it must be what you wanted. We're not talking about women coming to work with their tits hanging out here. We're talking about lipstick and blush and high heels and a skirt. Are you serious? Like I said, I don't think Jordan would be able to get a woman at this point in time if he didn't have a wife, because people who know how to get women don't care about this shit. They are not disturbed by the fact that women can, you know, get what they want through sex. Like, because that's what this comes down to. That's what this is about. It's not just about women causing major problems for men in the workplace. Like, this is some deep-seated shit that I've seen before. I see people who are emotionally broken by women, and they think all women are like this. They don't know how to talk to women. They don't know how to engage. They don't know how to flirt properly. They don't know how to flirt with women. They don't know how to socialize with women. You see it all the time, and that's why you get these MGTOW people. That's why you get, like, Elliot Rodger. And it's no surprise that the majority of his fans are these, like, internet fucking gamer losers that probably can't get laid either. I know I'm offending a lot of people with this video. Bunch of Jordan Peterson fans, bunch of gamers, I'm sorry. But if your whole life is playing games, then you're probably not getting girls. But I'm going off on tangents here, so let's get back to the video.
One of the things that you've talked about is that a lot of times you talk to these young men who are sort of flirting with far-right ideologies, and you try and bring them back. Like, what is that process like? How do you bring someone back from the far right?
Tell them a better story.
What is the better story?
Grow the hell up. Take your place in the world. You've got something to contribute. Make a plan. Live as an individual. Stay away from the identity politics pathology. It's just an excuse for failing to live your life in a respectable and noble manner. It's a way better story than, like, go wave your idiot far-right flag at some rally with a bunch of pasty-faced morons. What kind of pathetic behavior is that?
Ah, interesting, Jordan. It's time to grow up, take some responsibility in your life. I guess except for when women wear lipstick in the workplace and you have to sexually harass them now because, you know, they were hypocritical, you know, they wore lipstick to the workplace. That, young men, is not your fault that you sexually harassed them. That's the woman's fault. Don't tell me I fucking strawman them, okay? I don't want to hear that bullshit. The guy said if you wear lipstick to work, then you're being hypocritical about wanting to be sexually harassed, okay? He fucking said it himself. Anyway, guys, I think I'm gonna end the video there. Enough ranting for me. Jordan, I think this guy's a whack job. Yeah, he has his good moments. He says some smart things. He's a fucking psychologist, for Christ's sake. He has to be a little smart in some sense, but I think his ideas on religion are insane. I think his ideas on women are way overblown and a little archaic, honestly. And I just think he's this type of emotional person that leads to conspiratorial fucking people, and I can't stand it. And it's sad that this guy has the amount of followers that he does, and people actually buy into all the shit he says, because half of it is fucking bullshit. And I think these ideas need to be pushed against. Like, this is something that's driving us backwards in time. This is really regression. Men and women, I don't know if we could work in the workplace together. You know what? It's going to take more than 40 years to figure this out. No. Just don't fuck your goddamn coworker. It's that simple. Now, before I end this video, I just wanted to talk about the channel a little bit. My first strike will be ending in the next couple of days, so I'll finally be able to stream again. Now, who knows how long that'll last, considering, you know, I may get another strike, and then there you go, I won't be able to stream again. At the moment, I have all my videos privated, in case any of you have noticed, and that was to prevent me from getting a third strike and having my channel taken down. So once this strike is removed, I'll only have one strike, and I may unprivate them again. I'm not sure yet because I don't trust people out there. Obviously, someone's flagging me and being a cunt. But I'm going to try and get a couple of cool guests on sooner or later and start the hangouts again because I haven't been doing them on my other channel because, you know, there's 700 people subscribed to that channel and no reason to do a hangout with no one watching. Now go subscribe to Billy Bong Hangouts so I can finally, you know, get to 1,000 subscribers on there. I want you all to subscribe to it because if this channel ever goes down, you're not going to be able to find me except for on Twitter. And I know most of the people on here are not on Twitter, so get to it. And hopefully you guys didn't forget about the Teespring store. Go check it out and get yourself a Godless hoodie or something. Alright guys, thank you very much and have a nice night.
Right, well I'll get you more pumpkin and I'll ram it right up your fucking ass. Would you like it whole or diced?